Last we left our heroes, you were preparing an ambush for a group of unknown assailants. This group's makeup was eclectic and odd, even for the underworld. As they entered this ice-walled corridor into this cauldron-like hollow, you sprung your trap, unleashing shots, spells, and shrouding the group in a poisonous fog. The smaller, frailer creatures were quickly dispatched. However, these elven creatures were able to circumnavigate your ambush, and the two-headed giant friend weathered the opening bout before bearing down upon you all. Finally, with insectoid features and moth wings, the last member of these villains joined the fray, unleashing the spells and threats in kind. Despite their best efforts, your time to prepare and your ever-increasing skills as adventurers kept most of you from falling. Enid, unfortunately, found herself singled out and engaged with a female elven counterpart. Her skin sallow and pale, flaking off in places, unlike most elven portrayals. Nevertheless, she managed to bring Enid to the brink of unconsciousness, with a blade to her throat, call for you all to halt and throw down your arms. A tense moment of internal debate followed. Would you give in to these strange folk or fight? Ultimately, you chose the latter, and the tide swung in your favor for it. Their numbers dwindled, and the remaining combatants began to run. You slew the first, but kept the last alive as she turned, hands up, asking for mercy. Choosing to spare and interrogate this Fey fighter, you learned that what you knew of the Feywild was even less than you thought. The Fey was at war with itself. Courts abolished in the wake of the Summer Queen's demise, and new splintered courts have formed. This elf, a representative of a pale court, those cursed in some way by the Summer Queen's fall. Potentially more confusing still, this war has been raging for decades, and Enid somehow seems to bear the training of someone called the Feral One, even wielding the bow of their ilk. In the wake of these revelations, in the hopes to not meet again, your enemy fled the field of her slain compatriots, and we begin today as you seek to use this platform to access the lair of Clandestryx, high above you.
Okay. Does anyone want to take like a moment? What's everyone's, how you feel feeling? You guys hurt?
I'm at like 50%, I think.
I'm
like physically hurt, but also like
emotionally.
What is happening?
Yeah.
That was a tough one. More than I expected.
But
Andy, as the divining rod you return to, as the minute passes and the effect of the embracing potential wanes, I would like all of you to roll a d20.
Will you tell the audience that you scarily made us roll d12s the other day or something? It was really scary.
Allie rolled one, didn't she?
If and when it comes up.
Oh, God. Allie, why? Yeah, Allie rolled a 1 for sure.
16.
Yep.
I rolled a 5.
You rolled a 5, okay.
20.
Hey,
Oh, we're all over the place.
20 and 1 cancel each other out.
As you'll note at the bottom of the Divining Rod's effect, Embrace Potential has a potential downside in experiencing these potential futures that gave you advantage and +1 to your saves and AC. It does take a toll on your mind, potentially, and Enid and Augustus, you both get a point of exhaustion.
Oh, good.
We were never warned about these repercussions.
Yeah, honestly, I thought it was worth it. I'm sorry. We were all dying.
It was. No, it was so cool.
Okay, well, I've had a long day. I don't know about you guys. I'm just gonna stay in bed somewhere. The rest of the day.
we have to find a bed first, I think is the problem. The last no nice. And also, aren't we supposed to like do a thing with all the like crystals and something? There's a bunch of stuff that some kind of ritual needs to happen on that platform. We haven't looked into that at all.
Can I also say one more thing? I think we should do that, but also, can we look for like more information about these people we just fought?
Oh yeah. Is there like anything I can identify? Anything that you need me to? If you find anything on any of these guys,
Nettie, I think we should try and see what we can find. That woman mentioned there's more of us out there. Just wonder if we can find any more clues from these people and what they left.
The thing is, though, like, where are we gonna start?
I mean, pick one of the bodies, I guess.
Yeah.
It's probably insensitive.
Everyone split up and try and kindly root through the body of the murdered people you killed.
There are a number of these smaller kind of diminutive creatures to look over. Obviously, there's the moth figure who was towards the actual crystal platform itself. The one elf who remained and was slain, and of course the Etten. So there are several figures to loot and look through. Two things I want to note. One thing, just in terms of timing of the day, it's still actually relatively early in the day. You'd started your morning, relatively early, unsure of the exact timing given the lack of sun in the underworld. But you'd only been searching for about an hour when you called out to Clandestryx, got yourselves here, and so it's before noon by your best approximation. Just to put in perspective the timing of the day. However, as you guys begin to break out and search, go ahead and make investigation checks all around. Harangon's at disadvantage.
Gotcha. Roll 2 d20s because I add nothing. Nope, that's a d12. Oh, God.
11.
Dirty 20.
Ignore this d12 roll and D&D Beyond.
Yeah, roll better than an 8.
That was a
Hey.
2 10s. So it's not a 20, though.
I thought it was a natural 20, but no, I understand. It added them together.
But I think that's a success because we're playing Daggerheart now, right? So that's like a...
Success with
It's a crit.
a crit. What did you get, Nettie?
11, I think.
11. Yeah.
DC, did you roll? Did anyone get higher than 11?
And he's got a
dirty 20.
decent roll.
Oh, great. Okay, good.
DeCrane, are you investigating the bodies?
Yeah, it's a D12, right?
No.
D20.
D20.
We're not playing
D20
Daggerheart.
roll.
I have a low stagger. You can't stop talking about it. 11.
11, and I think my
Investigation?
investigation is 0. Yeah, it's 0.
Okay,
We
so
suck at investigation.
I should have taken proficiency in investigation, but I didn't want to be married.
Yeah, that's fair.
as you guys begin to break out and look over the bodies, I think there's an element to this, and maybe correct me if I overstep how your characters would react, but there's a difference in looting monsters versus creatures that are like humanoid who you just killed. And I think in your early adventuring career, there is just this like stomach churning element of sifting through the pockets of another person. Immediately, regardless of your 10s, 11s, totals, the weaponry that the elf and that the moth figure carry has that pungent rot aroma. And you can find a short sword and 2 daggers that are they look like, if you were to look past the initial kind of the overlay of this green and orange corrosion, they would be fine elven make. You can see just by the general shape, it's slender, it's sleek, and the hilt itself is a little less pockmarked than the blade. You can see that these would have been beautiful, but bear this corrosive, repulsive element of rot.
Kyle,
So
could I
you-
say that, sorry, as this all happens, because it might pertain to these bows, I'll use the rod can cast like one of a bunch of different spells a day. One of those is detect magic. So could I use that through the rod and see if any of this stuff, and I'm very curious about if the bows or any of the stuff that has rot smell is actually magical.
Yeah. Immediately as through the rod, your vision kind of gleans over with this element of enhancement of magic. Each of these 3 blades bears a magical aura. They are magically enchanted. However, even being near them is repulsive, if I'm honest. So take them at your own discretion. There's one bow and quivers of arrows that would be able to replenish your arrows for the 2 of you who use arrows. The little figures have nothing immediately to search through. The only thing I will note in terms of your investigation of these 4 smaller creatures, is a definite fey origin of the creature itself, rather than like what it is that they have on them in an investigation. They are wearing these kind of like skull masks that are almost reminiscent of like the Nazul cultists, but they seem less in like in deference to a deity or something like that, and more just like an affectation to wear, like just like a funny thing to wear based on like how they were acting and reacting. They almost have like a goblinoid element to them, very small and diminutive. I'd say there's something that just kind of itches the back of your brains to the 2 Herangons, but nothing that jumps out forward. Honestly, on the rest of them, you don't find a whole lot.
Is the bow have that rot to it, or is it just the blades?
Just the 3 blades. The bow seems to be a normal blade, or a bow, sorry. Identical, at least nearly, to the one that Enid has as well.
So I think it'd be worth taking that, but these blades are going to be so stinky.
Did the caster have like anything he was casting with?
Good call.
As you make your way up towards the moth figure, does not seem to have anything that they were casting with necessarily. It seemed to be a level of innate magics, and as you, with a higher investigation check, begin to kind of look through what was here, the helm is non-magical, but it does kind of block some of the face, but in the fall it has kind of shifted off, and you can see a more insectoid form. Like the body was insectoid, but the head is that of a anthropomorphized moth. Large eyes,
just Mothman,
glazed over, and the wings that became the kind of cape and cowl now fall and flutter. There is this faint kind of dust that kind of sifts off. 2 of the daggers come from this figure, and with a dirty 20, you're able to find a scroll that is kind of tucked into like an element of the garb. You pull it out. It doesn't seem to be a spell scroll. It seems to be like a written something. And as you unfurl to look, it doesn't appear to be in a language that you recognize. And doesn't... Throw me an intelligence check. Just straight D20 plus intelligence.
17.
At first glance, it doesn't appear to be language, more like a cipher or code. So a coded missive of some kind.
I'll show it to the bunnies. Can either of you, is anything out of this? It doesn't look common, definitely not common, and then after that definitely seems like it's coded, or a code maker breaker. Not sure if any of it rings true.
Both of your eyes, you can see elements that may have a Sylvan origin, but it's still like a coded and still not fully like obvious Sylvan. Like it's not like a straight word association kind of situation. You're not, and the 2 of you are just not code breakers by trade.
I think it's like a bunch of words.
Right. Okay. I don't know if you want to hang on to it. If we have some time, I can at least try to sort of read it and try to figure out what it is if you'd like. I don't know how much you want to dig into this mystery, if you'd rather leave it alone. I guess we haven't talked about that.
I hadn't really thought about it either.
I mean, you don't have to make the decision now. It's just, we can take what we can. Maybe we leave the stinky swords, or like bury them in some snow or something, but you don't have to decide right now.
Maybe we could take one of the daggers, see how stinky it is, and then even show Clandestryx and see if she's ever seen anything like this before or smelled anything like this.
Sure.
And then, yeah, we can take the scroll and we can take the bow. I think I would take a long look at like the bow and look at Nettie's bow and just kind of be very perplexed as to like why they're twins when we're supposed to be twins, and why don't I have a bow? Not from a selfish point of view wanting bow.
The one thing I think you'll note with the two bows, obviously there's been time that Nettie, you've used your bow and made it your own. Like you would have had your own elements that you've added to it and fucked with it over the last several years to make it your own. But it's the wood itself of the bow is obviously similar. Even the string has a very specific sheen to it that has been always kind of odd and is evident here as well.
What I don't get though, like this is the thing that kills me is like, I made this bow. So are they just like following me? Following us? But, or is there more to this?
I mean, if you said you don't remember a lot.
No.
If you made it, maybe you made it wherever they made theirs.
But then why wouldn't I remember that?
Kyle, have I ever seen this wood in, like, does this wood look so spectacular? Like, so this is Scott talking. Does this wood look like it came from the Feywild? Because August has never seen this wood before.
Throw me a nature check. Or survival, I'll allow.
Is it just shitty black? Is it black walnut or is it
Dirty 20.
magic walnut?
A dirty 20. You can't immediately identify.
Wait,
Disadvantage.
9.
You can't immediately identify the wood. And you realize that despite your natural affinity, just the concept of weapon making certainly escapes you, and the concept of like identifying trees outside of the exterior, the bark, the leaves, you realize, I don't know a whole lot about trees.
I've only seen like trees where I live. It is wood, if you guys are wondering. Probably from a tree.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good
like-
to know.
I would have just like whatever tree looks sturdy. Yeah.
But we just don't remember it. Our memories, I don't know.
Maybe we can jar those memories.
I take a step back.
I mean, if to be honest, I think the events of today, if they don't bring anything up, let's give them a chance to kind of stew first before we add any additional trauma.
Sometimes all it takes is a good hit to the head.
I think they had plenty of those today, to be honest.
Not a lot, okay? Don't need any more.
In the right spot, of course.
You're acting all weird again. Andy, do you feel weird after you confessed your secret that you actually use magic? And
Oh, yeah, you know what? Your shit's way bigger than this
No,
today.
we can move on.
No, it's fine. I kind of thought you'd figured it out already, and I'm kind of surprised you hadn't.
Blew my little antlers and ears right off.
No, it's just look, the big lesson out of all of this is just remember everything I'm doing is super illegal. I know we're having fun doing magic down here because it doesn't matter because no one down here thinks it's illegal, but the second we get topside, please don't tell anyone.
Okay, keep it a secret. That sounds like a lot of pressure.
Yeah, that's partially why I didn't say anything. I mean, at first I was like, who knows? Are these people, do they not like this? Are they on Iconoclast side? And then I was like, okay, maybe they know. Maybe they just don't know enough about magic. I should tell them. And then just too much time had gone by, and now I'm like, it's just weird. Now it's just weird if I'm like, hi, I have a big thing to tell everybody. The crane's down for a while. But outside of that, yeah, I'm just don't mention it. Just don't mention it. I'm just a shepherd who's guiding you along places.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
So, like, if we go any like fancy parties, or anything, you're not gonna do any tricks.
Absolutely not. No, and you shouldn't either. Actually, okay, here's the thing. You two have been doing more magic down here than we have up there. A lot of the people who are like really in it, they kind of know the difference between natural magic and non-natural magic. Now, a lot of them still don't like the non-natural magic. It's not openly illegal, but they could easily pretend that they think that your natural magic is not, to get you persecuted if they don't like you. Or the layman, random people in town, they just see magic and magic is scary. So they could tell on you, or, they don't understand. And if someone gets reported to them that there's someone doing arcane magic, they're not going to look into it. They're just going to, it's iconoclast. They're just going to shoot first and pretend that nothing else happened. So just be careful. We're having fun down here, and it's really exciting to see you guys do new things. Just when we get topside, if anyone else is in view, just think first.
Think first.
Yeah, or if they're iconoclast, you better make sure that they don't tell anyone else.
So make a secret with them. Say like, hey, this is a secret?
I think the answer is send a crane after them, to be honest.
Okay. The crane, you don't like magic, and you have a gun. Like the iconoclast kind of do. Were you an iconoclast before?
Do have a history with them, yes. But I quickly realized that they are driven by ulterior motives, and I wanted no part of that.
Okay. Thank you for telling us.
He's so cool.
I know, God, he's so tough. Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna take this bow, because I could probably, make something cool out of it. Like, I could use, the string and make, new, fringe or something, or,
Are we gonna be, extra twinning?
Yeah, I don't know yet, but, I can't use a bow. It looks too complicated. I don't know how to put the stick on the thing. No, it seems like it's too much. You guys want to check out this platform?
Yeah, I think we need to go take a look at it. Well, I still have this spell up that can help see magic stuff.
Okay.
As you guys make your way towards this crystal platform, Andy, part of the investigation, part of your passive, not immediately on the body, but in the fall and in the fray of fighting, having tumbled down the kind of slope and kind of come to rest within snow and ice. Aided by your magical sight, you do see a glint in the snow as you walk, as you kind of, as a group, begin to go up to the top towards the crystal platform, and you scoop down kind of like a softball, maybe a little small, like a regular baseball size, pearl. It has a faint magical aura, not necessarily a school. You're not sure if it's a magical item or something just naturally magical, or if it's just a surprisingly large pearl. Just something that you managed to find that seems to have come from one of these figures here.
Did anyone see any of these guys holding a big ball thing?
No.
Okay, can I follow the little where it rolled trail to see if there's footsteps or anything? Okay.
Just seems to have in amongst the fray, it landed kind of at one point and then tumbled and came down here. You're not sure, whose body it would have been near.
Is it pearl colored? It's pearlescent?
It's pearlescent, yeah.
You described there were crystals or balls hanging from the ceiling. Does it look like one of those?
There still are, and all around above you, about 10 feet up, maybe even a little bit further, you look to compare. This is a baseball size pearl. Those look more like volleyballs of crystal that seem to float. They do seem to have coloration within, but it's a different material. It's a different item between the two.
Okay. Wonder if they stole this, or doesn't look like it came from here. Hang on to it for now, and maybe I'll identify it later.
Kind of cool.
It's
Put
heavy.
that away a little bit. It does have a little bit of weight to it, and you can. It doesn't vibrate or anything like that, but you get kind of across just in the world of D&D. when there is a magical item that you first kind of come into contact with, there is a buzz of magic. There is a faint static electricity, a vibration, near imperceptible, but to those who are a little bit more skilled, you can sense when something is magic, typically, when you're trained to do so. And Andy, of course, you would be. It's faint, but it's there. Just kind of a little oddity to tuck away and look at on a rainy day. As you all begin to move up towards the top of this platform, having kind of left and cleared the path, you make your way up onto the platform proper. It is about a 15, 20-foot diameter of thick crystal, dusted with snow, as everything here is kind of faintly dusted with snow. And there are 3 pedestals on what would be the north-facing side of this. It's roughly equal in their make, each kind of rising, almost naturally rising from the crystal, not as a separate piece, but as if one piece collectively formed in this way. Each rises about 3 or 4 feet and ends in a faintly kind of concave bowl at the top. In the face facing you of each of these 3 pedestals is a singular kind of etched symbol or word in a language I don't believe any of you speaks or reads. Does anyone here read or understand Draconic?
No.
Valentine did.
Valentine
No.
did.
It's not primordial.
Not primordial.
No, Infernal.
What are you doing knowing Infernal for?
I have no idea.
You a weirdo?
You know.
What secrets are you keeping?
If we have 11 minutes, I can eventually read it. How important is it, do we think?
I mean, it's still kind of early. We could take some time.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I just need a flat surface.
Conveniently, the crystal platform is remarkably flat.
Great.
Can
will
I
virtually
maybe-
cast detect magic? Oh my god, comprehend language.
Comprehend languages, yeah.
Benny, what's your health at?
I am at 14.
In DC, what are you at?
I'm at 28.
Okay, great. I'll burn my literal last spell to give Cure Wounds to Nettie.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
8.
Thank you.
Is there anything the 3 of you, other than this healing, want to do over this ritual 10 minutes, 11 minutes, or are we good to just jump to that?
I think maybe just in a spare piece of paper from his little notebook that he usually doodles in, he'll just try and actually, maybe he'll try and doodle that woman fighter who walked away. Let's try and do a very rudimentary sketch of her.
Does it look like the stick sketch that you drew?
Yeah, I'll show you what it
Find
looks like.
It's going to be a performance check, but Scott can draw whatever he wants, but
Yeah,
Augustus
I'll show you.
throws me a performance check at disadvantage.
Fuck, at disadvantage. All right.
You're exhausted.
First one was 14. Second one was 8.
It's a lot of 8s today.
Yeah.
Well,
As Scott goes through the process of drawing here, and Augustus gets very invested in his etching and sketching. Andy, you finish the ritual of comprehend languages. The rest of you taking a breather, catching up, and just kind of finishing and gathering things. Ducrane, I imagine you're kind of working on your armor and just readjusting yourself, fixing and reloading your gun. Enid gathering extra arrows, which is always the mark of a ranger. Eventually, spell finishes, and with the aid of magically comprehend languages, the 3 draconic runes become joy, wrath, fear.
Pretty good. Yeah.
That would look good on a wall.
Yeah,
Again,
I think I
over a
captured.
hearth.
I think I captured her hair really well because it was kind of like a swoop.
It's emotions, joy, wrath, and fear.
Joy, wrath, fear.
I'm trying to remember what we know about this kind of dragon. I'm going to look at my notes in real life.
Crystal dragons are really like fun and charming. Like Joy would probably be something more up that person's alley.
What do we do about it? It's not like press this button.
Kyle, are there 3 individual spots for this? Like, are they placards for them?
So on the kind of rise of like the pedestal of crystal, which is part of the platform, it's like as if it grown up, and then there's concave bowl at the top of each of these 3, as if etched or burned in like a like a brand.
Branded.
Yeah. Yeah. Branded onto the front of each of these, and relatively large, is the single draconic rune that would be then translated to the single word.
But it's all for one, or there's like individual ones?
There's a left one that says joy, a middle one that says wrath, and the right one says fear.
I found in that book you had, in that dragon book, you learn that crystal dragons prize personal trinkets, like things that are personalized, things that matter to you, and gems, which we don't really have any of. Maybe if anyone has items,
I wonder
if there's an item that brings you joy, if there's an item that represents your wrath.
That's interesting. I wondered if it was like ones like you laugh in it, and one like you like shout in it, and one you like scream in it.
That could work.
It's hard to just like keep that in the bowl though.
I mean, what if you just stand in that spot and feel that emotion?
Okay. I'll go up to the joy one, and I'll put my paws in it. And then I think of this time when Nettie and I were goofing off and chatting in our twin speak about DeCrane's bowel issues, and we thought it was really funny.
Reminiscing in the moment and kind of the smile reappearing on your face. The bowl like kind of faintly begins to alight with like a yellowish light, but it's not strong. It's faint.
How big is it?
How big as what?
The dimple. The bowl dimple.
Is it, say,
like
I'm going to steal it from you?
A medium-sized salad bowl. Maybe
is it
medium to large salad.
So it's too big. How big are the balls that are floating in the air?
It would fit.
Okay. They're floating.
What about
I
the
don't have to
pearl?
get them.
What about the pearl?
The pearl's softball side.
Pearl's too small.
We have to try and get one of those and put them in here.
Maybe like certain ones. They're all the same color.
Yeah, the spheres that are floating don't seem to have any kind of distinctive elements to them. They all seem relatively identical.
Tootsweet did his thing very well, but I kind of wish we had lines right now. Yeah.
We haven't talked about Tootsweet fighting that giant beast. He was the beast. Oh my god.
Right.
Can I put my arm out to one of those little spheres? And this time I'll think about when that evil fey creature was like holding its sword blade to Nettie's throat.
You hold your hand up as high as you can and try and evoke the fear of that moment. And as one of these spheres is floating by, and they're just kind of gently bobbing and kind of like doing like a circumference of the space. As it dips close to you, which is still, even at your extension of your arm, is what, like 5 feet tall?
Just scratching 5.
It's still like another 5 or 6 feet high. But as you push out and are thinking about this moment, where it dips to its lowest point, still 5 or 6 feet above you, you watch the coloration of the sphere begin to shift a little, and then it bobs away.
Okay, do you want a boost? Or...
Sure. I wonder if I still have a rabbit hop left, too. Let me look. Little bunny hop.
I think so.
Yeah, I do. Where's my little thing? I have 1 rabbit hop left. Yeah. So I can go 10 feet in the air.
I'll cheerleader.
Burning your rabbit hop. Go ahead and just make a straight dexterity check for me.
Disadvantage?
You do have disadvantage in this because it's a check.
Still decent. I think one was 17, one was an 8. So I just add 2 to dex, so 10.
A 10 is the DC, just to leap up and grasp hold of it, and it's kind of like it's about like volleyball, basketball sized, which is still kind of big to you. You grab it, and you can feel it has a little bit of give. It's a little bubble-like, but it is solid. And you land, boof, and kind of happy with the moment of being able to do that. You watch a little bit of yellow begin to kind of color, and like smoke within begins to kind of fill, and then it fades a little bit as the emotion passes.
I will maybe I'll hold on to it. Let's all get one, so at the same time when they're like full of emotions, we can put them in the slots. I'm too tired to jump again. Yeah, so someone else has to do it.
You're a good jumper too. Do you want to try to grab something?
You can jump.
Okay. Enid, with using your bunny hop, you can do this easily, just burning the bunny hop. You still need to make the dexterity check. You still need to make a check for any of the jumping. So you can burn that and then make a straight dexterity check at disadvantage for being exhausted.
Okay. 8.
Enid springs up and like you're just scrabbling and just you bat it away and it like fumbles away and you land back down. Unfortunately, just trying to grab these things that they're not actively trying to evade you, but as soon as you touched it, it does kind of like boop, like trying to catch a balloon with, big mitts on.
Can I try and use Thorn Whip to grab one?
You certainly can. Go ahead and make an attack roll.
My new cantrip for level 4. Is this with disadvantage or is that just checks?
It's just for ability checks, so this is a spell attack.
15.
15. You use the Thorn Whip, you grab it, you begin to pull it in your way, and it bursts.
Yeah,
as the Thorn Whip kind of pulls into it with the thorns bursting the crystalline elements. And where it does burst, you do hear just kind of this faint, you hear like a sounds of laughter, crying, scream, all, and just kind of like in amongst the shattering of glass. And then it kind of filters down in this slow snow of crystalline dust.
If any get close, like within 10 feet of me, can I? How light are these things, Scott?
In Augustus's hand, it's like a helium.
Like a balloon. Could I use prestidigitation? Can let you do a small puff of wind. Could I literally just try to like over and over and over again, very gently?
I will still ask for a check to see if you can get it to kind of push it down to you. But instead of a dexterity check, I'll allow it to be an intelligence check.
Okay, thank you.
And I have a backup plan if that fails.
Okay, 11 on the dice plus 4. 15.
Yeah. Over a few kind of seconds of really trying to like get it in and like trying to funnel the force of prestidigitation down, it gets low enough and you being tall enough to be able to grab hold. And you now have one as well. DeCrane, you can, not being a Harengon, being a 6-foot tall man, you could probably make this jump just straight up. Like if you just get a running start and jump, if you want to just make a straight dexterity check to try and see if you can jump and grab one.
Sure.
Come on, DC.
15.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, plus your
15
dex.
Plus your dexterity. Watching these guys, you just sprint, jump, and leap, and with your very skilled dexterous abilities.
Plus 4, so
Two.
19 total. Yeah.
You come down with one cleanly in hand. You have the 3, at least to try, with the 3 pillars in front of you.
Okay, so that one's wrath, that one's joy, that one's fear. Does anyone have a particularly strong feeling towards any of them?
I'm just going to say it. I could do fear. DeCrane, I feel like you got a simmering wrath in you almost at all times. And I don't know, Andy, maybe if you thought of your family back with the shepherds, there'd be some joy there.
There's plenty of joy, yeah.
Is there wrath in your past, Crane?
That works, I think.
As the three of you and Enid watching on step forward, each up to the platform and kind of set the sphere in with a perfect fit into the bowl of each of the pillars with your hands atop it. Kind of look to one another and begin to think of the memory specific to evoke this emotion. Each of you, I'll have you describe them in a moment, as each of these memories begins to kind of just like you focus on it, begins to fill and take shape within the sphere itself in a kind of smoky illusion. The memory of your point of view of whatever memory you're about to infuse into this sphere will be held in this place here momentarily. Going around.
Is it like Inside Out?
Kind of. So, Joy. What is the memory of Joy seen in this sphere?
There's a lot to choose from. I think it's probably like sitting for the first time with, oh my god, I could never remember her name, which is fucking awful.
Raina?
Yes. Sitting with her for the first time and like the first time getting like a cantrip to work.
Mm-hmm. Out of the corner of your eyes, you guys are focusing on your own memory, and Enid would see all these play out. You watch the yellow of Joy begin to fill the pillar and the sphere, and inside the sphere you can see this female water genasi helping to shape, and you can see from the POV of Andy as her hands are doing this manipulation of magic, mimicking this female water genasi's mimicry of magic as they both begin to kind of swirl around and create a little spark of prestidigitation, and Andy successfully doing so, and the joy of this genasi person across, clearly beaming in the face in this beautiful kind of like obviously out in nature on a sunny day. It is a very evocative, joyful memory of Andy's first successful attempts at wizardry. In Wrath, Crane, what image is implanted here?
This is a tough one.
You can be vague if you want with like what it looks like without saying too much.
If you want, you could be vague and I can fill in some detail.
I see a woman. Or I see a woman draped in gold. And I can't see her face, but I can see blood dripping from her hand. And in the background, I see fire. I see a glow, but not a nice glow. And I hear screams. And I hear wailing. And I hear explosions. I have my gun drawn, but I can't shoot.
The orange of wrath fills the pillar as the orb fills, and this imagery plays forth to Crane, that fury and betrayal in this moment. Play it out, and unfortunately locked into this moment, this memory. Though helpful in this situation, it does bring back dark memories. As Augustus fills the fearful final memory sphere.
Augustus would just be thinking of the moment literally a handful of days ago when we were fighting that huge automaton in the pond, and Nettie was unconscious and looked like she might be lost, and then it was Andy's magic who brought her back. But it was that fear in the moments when she wasn't there, and then he thought he would lose this other half.
There was a dire moment in watching your sister, this person who you are so devoted to and so enraptured with, nearly drowned and destroyed on this little adventure you thought you were on. The red of the fear fills the coloration of the pillar, the memory sphere, and with all three alit, the platform begins to rise, seemingly soundlessly, seemingly weightlessly floating and rising into the air. By the time you break from the immediate memory and playing out the thought, you're already 50, 60 feet in the air. On some kind of steady, predetermined path, you ride the crystal platform up in the direction of the crystalline lair of Clandestryx that you've spotted high above in the rooftop of the underworld. As you rise, and eventually, after a short few minutes, this platform settles into the inverted spires of crystal. You land at an open rocky crevice, and a few short feet away, a winding stair corkscrews up into the heart of these crystalline protrusions. All around you now, looking down, and as you have been rising up hundreds of feet with no railing of protection here, a little bit of fear welling up just naturally. You stand overlooking this cliff's edge down to sheer death below. What are you doing?
Hello?
Just echoes up.
Lady Clandestryx.
I pull out my gun and I shoot it in the air.
Ow! Oh God!
Remember we talked about not pissing off a dragon? How bad it was important to not piss off a dragon?
It rings and echoes up here in in multitudes more than just a normal cavern. Also mark off a bullet.
Oh God!
Was that worth it?
There doesn't appear to be any further response.
Maybe we should go in and explore a bit. Let's just try not to be rude.
Let's try not to shoot someone's home anymore. Hey,
Is it dark?
Stuff, right?
Each of the crystals are faintly lit, actually, so you can see the crystals do provide some light, and the stairs that are a natural stone are lit on either side by these kind of walls and pillars of crystal that begin to kind of follow this rising staircase up into further towers and spires and elements of whatever this crystalline structure is.
Can I knock on one of the crystals with the tip of my staff? Because I know she talked to us that way before.
Smart.
Knocking on a door. It's okay, we're here. Stop the bad guy. We're gonna come in.
Let's just go up the steps.
Where you tap your staff, there is kind of a light response. No more.
Okay, let's just walk in.
Yeah, let's do it.
You'll begin to ascend the staircase and slowly but surely make your way up into this spiraling stair until you reach just a grand opening in an arch of crystal, massive crystal, kind of Fortress of Solitude style crystal. And you step inside a massive receiving room of crystal floor. The walls are multi-hued and multicolored, and these kind of rainbow aspect within the walls, and all around the ceiling. You don't see crystal or anything. You see a concentrated form of that aurora in the night sky. You can see stars and constellations shifting ever so slightly all above, as if the night had greeted you directly.
I take off my hat and just look up at it.
I
know it's not real, but it's nice.
It is enough. It is real enough to see just the faintest of glimmer to your tattoos. You're all relatively perceptive, now noting the divining rod helping Andy's perception. And as you guys begin to make your way and looking, there's a faint shift and shimmer across the entire room. So it's difficult to make out any shift in movement, or you keep getting tricked by the thought of movement over here, but it's just like the shimmer of light throughout. But this tinkling crystal sound draws you further in. And eventually you come to what would be the central area, and there is a kind of rising platform. At the peak of it, you can see a series of crystals shimmering with radiant energy. And this tinkling sound seems to be coming from every shift in movement of this crystal form, which you come to see Clandestryx herself as she lowers her great crystal head in your direction. Not a hulking, scaly form that you expect of a dragon, but a form of living starlight and auroras that flow between long crystalline spires and horns. The horns and crystals hover off of her back and head, connected but not directly. Many of her scales have perfect clarity and therefore bend and refract the light. But as a result, she becomes largely transparent, glassy in her form, and difficult to see. But as you enter, you watch the face shift, and each of the crystal scales kind of shivers. The light bends and twists, and you see these scales settle and take on a slightly more cloudy form and fill with color in this kind of faint white, pale kind of cream color, revealing the gargantuan quadrupedal dragon that lounges sphinx-like atop this spire of rainbow crystal. From atop the platform, the rest of her body hangs, but her head and long neck drapes down towards you with a smile. Well, lovely to have you. And I must say, well done, Tom.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a little dicey at a couple moments, not gonna lie.
It's better be worth it.
Okay, let's just simmer down a little bit.
Elbow him right in the fucking stomach, which is more your crotch.
Little upper thigh. As she a faint kind of twist of a smile. She says, well, worth is determined by many in different ways, my friend. And I hope you will come to find our meeting worthwhile simply for the story, if not for what is you've come to deliver and what you've come to retrieve. However, perhaps I may be able to even offer more, and likewise hope to learn a little about each of you. As you can imagine, I don't get many visitors, and certainly none quite as unique as all of you. I would very much like to have some proper introductions. My name is Clandestryx, and I imagine you have already heard of me. And I would like to hear from you, though. Beginning with tall, pale, and brooding, what is your story? She looks to Decrane.
Is that me? Oh, no, it's not me.
She said tall.
You are none of those three things.
I was two. She's so pretty.
Can you repeat the question?
What's your story?
We all have a story.
Indeed.
Mine may be of interest to you. It might be of no interest to you. What is the purpose of it?
Well, simply, at least at first, a name is always useful. But I also am always curious as to when I meet individuals, it is rare. It is not a common occurrence for people to come into contact with someone quite like myself. Dragons alone, let alone someone quite as old as I. So it's always interesting to know who it is and why they've been chosen for such occurrence.
That's fair enough. I'll say that I don't know if I've met someone quite like you, at least in this form. All I'll say is I've seen a lot of death and a lot of war over very little. I've seen corruption over something that should honestly not be making lives worse, but better. And I don't know how, but I find myself here today with this group of people, with this group of characters. And I learn something from them all the time. And I still think there's a lot more to learn.
Also, his name's DeCrane. He forgot that part. His manners aren't great.
Pleased to meet
tilts
you.
her head in your direction for the addition, and says, well, DeCrane, I think we have much more in common than you may have first gleaned. And despite the somewhat vague yet salacious introduction, it is a pleasure to meet you. I hope to learn more. Now you two, Paragon twins?
Yeah.
Please?
Okay.
You go first.
No, you go first.
No, I always go first. You go first.
Oh, okay. Hi, Miss Radiant Scaled Goddess. Yeah, so I mean, this is my twin brother, Augie. Say hi.
Hey, I think I'll do it. Okay, no, you keep going. Do you want me to jump in?
Yeah,
No,
jump in.
No, you keep going. My name's August. Do you want me to keep going?
Keep going. Yeah, you're good at it.
Oh, yeah. So then, and we're Paragon twins.
We're twins.
And,
I have a bow.
And I also have a bow, but it's not mine.
You can't use it.
You're just so
Ray,
cool
Ray.
looking. Right? Okay. No, you finished. You talk about Toot Sweet, and then I'll talk about Ray.
This
You
week, this
finished.
squirrel can fly and a half. He's my friend.
Is Tootsway here?
Kind of a long story. He was really brave and kind of risked his life to get here. But he'll be back. He can come back.
Well, that is good to hear.
We don't really know much about where we came from, and I am feeling I don't know if you overheard that encounter down there, but I honestly didn't really care where we came from as long as we were together, and we got parents and they love us and they care for us, but it feels like the past keeps like clawing at us and haunting us. And we originally started out on this quest just to try and like get a little coin for our parents, but also there was this song, Mary in the Red, kind of was just like haunting us. But it set us on this path, and we met up with these two, and they're really nice and really great, and we're able to help people, and that's all I really want to do is just help people, and with Ray, shine a little light, and keep my sister safe. So
We're on.
You watch this crystalline tail just swoop in and kind of swoops up and around the two of you until the tip just alights beneath Ray and like just kind of bobs her up onto her tail, and you watch the light like cascade through and refract through the crystal structure of Clandestryx as she kind of gives a smile.
We're honestly
Fascinating.
just trying to find as many pieces as we can to put the puzzle back together.
A noble pursuit. And again, something that I think that we may have in common in one way or another. A pleasure.
Some of those pieces, admittedly, were on your doorstep 20 minutes ago. It's been an interesting hour.
Also not so uncommon with me, if I'm entirely honest.
Okay.
And of course, Andromeda. I know of your tale, but not told by your tongue.
It's fine. I think you got the gist. I'm Andromeda. of the hidden of the endless horizon, and I'm just trying to see places and people and learn things and try to figure out what this scary end of the world vision in my head's been about. Yeah.
What did she say? Did she say scary end?
Yeah, we talked about it like yesterday. Maybe it was this morning. It was this morning.
Oh yeah, with the auroras and everything, right?
I might not have told you that I think it's about the end of the world, but that might just be my interpretation.
Yeah, that sounds scary.
That's a big interpretation.
Yeah.
Dreams and visions often end up in a handful of camps, and one of them does end up often in Armageddon.
Mm.
Such is the nature of premonitions. But if you've not heard the tale of your friend here...
What do you mean tale? How do you know her?
Oh, well, it is not my place. Just... It's odd to find that you may be traveling with a celebrity in some circles.
Are you holding out on us again?
No,
The
no,
pretty
it's
miss?
different. It's just a shepherd story. I like people.
There's no such thing as just a shepherd story.
It's a little bit true. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just absolutely thrilled. I love divination, and it's something that I've only dabbled in. But I apparently that's quite your specialty. Because I mean, you made this, right? And I hold up the crystal.
Indeed, and I have made its pair. And you watch the tail again kind of sweep around, but this time you can see along the kind of spine of the tail, you see a dozen various crystalline protrusions and spires, some connected, some hovering, connected, but not clearly. And as she kind of sweeps forward, one of these protrusions is identical down to the etched engravings within, kind of hovering off a section of her tail. She puts it side by side with the one that you wield. It says, indeed, I've been crafting this now I only just finished, so quite fortuitous, your timing. Ludomir has always been quite astute with his assumptions of time.
To be fair, a bunch of mushrooms helped us get here early. So that was nice.
It's good to meet the locals. It's a good ball, anyways.
Yeah.
We have
not so nice.
Durbles. I've not met a Durble before.
Durble's wonderful.
Oh,
He's
he's
the
great.
greatest friend you could ever have. Yeah.
I will look out for him.
we have a bunch of stuff for you.
Yeah.
Actually.
I got this staff. It's really helped along the way and kept us safe by spreading its light. Here you go. Give her the staff of healing.
You kind of set it out before you, and you just watch it lift up into the air, kind of hover in front of her. And she kind of like sniffs at it. Just, oh, well, that is lovely. That is a beautiful piece.
In
We
the
also
little
got
chest
this little chesty chest and
and a little jewelry box thing.
in this jewelry box.
The jewelry box lifts out of your hands, and you watch it just unlatch and open and kind of tip out and just begin to tumble in the air before you. And you watch from its interior of this red velvet cushioned interior, 6 plum-sized diamonds just begin to fall out and just hover in the space and just like encircle. And she brings them all close, and with the kind of flick of a massive talon, they begin to kind of align. Just, well, that is lovely. Ludomir always does have quite nice things. But yeah, business be business. And she hands the tail sweeps over and kind of presents the staff before the 4. I see you've come on behalf of one I trust, and in watching you, I can see why he trusts you, what he sees in you. In truth, I think fate has much more in store for you. should you be so inclined, of course, finish business for Ludomir. But if you're interested, as you say, divination is my purview. We could get a glimpse at fate's intent for you, if you were so interested. And of course, I have some information to provide that will help you along your way in utilizing these divining rods.
That's great.
I'm always interested to see what Fae has and how it can be bent.
Wonderful. Well, business first, and then perhaps a little bit after. The divining rod is presented if one of you wishes to grab hold of it.
I have one already. I guess I'll take the other one.
Dual wielding the divining rods.
Eventually someone else can hold it. It's an actual item to use by a spellcaster, so probably Scott. But
Clandestryx goes on to explain, just kind of partially to recap the rest of your adventure here, just for that purpose, but also a little bit of what her intent is here. The divining rods have been requested by Ludomir, and of course my interests in this notwithstanding, the two fallen sites at the peaks of the Silver Highlands and in Brunder Kiln and Ironholm, these should be sufficient to replace and reestablish the full workings of the divining network. Now, they are enchanted in such a way that when used as focus in a commune ritual, they will instantly be connected to all the other rods forming the network. And they will also, in doing so, root themselves in the site that you choose, forming a protective ward around their surroundings, instantly etching some of my handcrafted runes into the earth itself and hiding their presence from untoward eyes and tracking. Now, I've long been curious as to why and how these two rods have been destroyed and disrupted. It would take a significant undertaking of magical might to do so. And unfortunately, my sight upon these sites has been obscured, blocked. Each site directly have been hidden from me, which is a rarity, I will admit. To what end could someone go to these lengths? I do not know. And how would they have discovered such a secretive network in the first place? Or is it merely chance and fate intervening? I suppose it will come to you to decide and find out. However, the omens of the lands around each site are enough to know that the situation is dire. Though I cannot see the sites directly, the Sephirics take flight over the highlands, and in Ironholm the warmth of Brunder Kiln is gone. Frost grips the land, and whatever water that is not frozen has run dry. Andy, Enid, and Augustus, go ahead and make nature or history checks, your choice. Augustus, yours is a straight roll, not exhausted for this.
For nature?
Whatever you choose in this roll.
Nature or survival?
Nature history.
Nature history. I was writing down all the notes.
I didn't roll well.
Fuck me. 2 equals 4.
Do I have disadvantage?
You still have disadvantage, unfortunately.
Okay.
Augustus
that sucks.
would have
You got
got
this,
bumped up
Enid.
in this one, but
You got this.
Oh! So I did survival because it's +5. So I got 23. And then I'm like, okay, I'll re-roll again because it's disadvantage. And I got 25.
Great.
Interestingly enough, you have heard of the Sephirics. It is a carrion-feeding bird that is believed to be an omen or signature omen of impending death. There's a lot of folklore that is kind of surrounding this bird. It is a dark, not quite raven, it's a larger kind of bird. It does fly, a long tail, and it has a particular song that people associate more with like the whistle of the hounds of hell or the whistle of an impending reaper.
Great.
As Clandestryx looks down to you, do you have any questions as to how you want to go about this?
Is there one you think we should go to first? I think Ludomir was thinking of going to the Highlands maybe first, but do you think that's wise?
I think it most wise and most expedient, as we are directly beneath the Highlands currently.
Oh, wow.
If we are able to have a glimpse of the futures that you have in store for each of you, I would be willing to fly you to the surface. The Silver Highlands themselves save you some of that trip. I can't go much further, and unfortunately I can't get you all the way to the peaks, but I could get you at least topside.
Do you have to see all? Do you have to see all of our futures to agree to that?
I think so.
Okay.
If not, it's acceptable.
No, I think we really... Oops, I accidentally rolled a dice. I think we really need to get there as quick as we can, so I'd let that happen. Just so much stuff with the past and now having to think about the future. Just really like the present.
That's fair. It is in my nature to always be looking forward to the future, over-examining the past. I do often forget to live in the present, but it's difficult when you can glimpse what is to come, to not be tempted to. However, it is not in my power to look into the fate of another without their say-so, and not without the cost inherent.
I can go first.
Are you all ready?
Is there anything we should know? Is there future stuff? None of you have had visions before, right?
One time, Nettie hit me with an acorn so hard I blacked out, and I think I had a vision, but it could have been a hallucination. Do you know the difference?
You can learn to tell.
There's a lot of toot sweet dancing in this one, so I'm not sure.
That's probably a hallucination.
Okay.
I thought he's a good parent. I've seen him try to dance. It's not bad. It can be a lot. Just don't get lost.
Okay.
Find something to anchor you.
Immediately looks at Nettie.
Oh, I can hold you down.
I think she meant like spiritually, but I know you can hold me down.
I mean, if you want to hold his hands, that might not hurt.
This will be far less intrusive into your mind, more an interpretation and a reading of what fate has for you.
Yeah.
Far less
back to this consciousness.
impressive.
I have a theory that I'm going to write down.
Oh.
She does shift a little and says, It will be my privilege to offer a glimpse to each of you. However, to see your future can be a great boon and potential curse. Thus, sacrifice must be in kind. Something must be owed to see. Something that you alone value dearly. You need not say it aloud. Fate will know what it is you owe. When you're ready, we will read. You watch her form. She pulls her head back up. She shifts, and you expect like her wings as they extend out to like blast down to you, but they just extend and then they fold back, and then she just kind of lifts off and hovers over just this massive form over you as she lands kind of more centrally into this massive on your level in this massive kind of crystalline entry room, giving you a little bit of space to think and mull over what you want to do before having your reading.
I'm going to scribble a note down in my notebook and tear it out. And I'll tear it out and fold it and put it in my paw and hold it between my hands.
I will say the intent here is to get something from you to make a sacrifice. It doesn't need to be monetary. It doesn't need to be physical. It doesn't need to be an object. It could be something, a memory. It can be it could be something mechanical. It could be something of like your, it can be kind of anything you want. The intent is it needs to be something that your character values and would miss if it were gone.
I have one.
A sacrifice of some kind to gain the boon. Go ahead.
You can tell me if it's not enough, though, because I'm happy to do something more. I would take out the little bunny statue that Ursa made me. And see if that's enough as tribute.
Sure. The only way to find out will be to go through the process.
Okay.
And it'll all happen simultaneously, I will say.
Take out bunny statue, rip off a piece of fringe, tie the note I wrote down onto the bunny statue, seal it.
Okay.
That's my thing.
Augustus prepares his offering.
Give up your magic, Andy.
Yeah, that's fine.
Give up your arcane talent.
I'm legitimately trying to think of something.
Well, while you guys think about it, Scott, the note that you wrote in there, is it something that you want to be tied to give to Clandestryx just as part of fate? Is it something, would you message me privately, or is it something that you want?
I was originally thinking it would be, can it be both? Originally it was just going to be a note to her, something cute, but now it's also going to be like a secret.
Sure. I take that. Can you message it to me?
Sure.
In the secrecy of DMs.
Secrets.
Any other ideas in terms of offerings and tribute?
Does it have to be something personal?
It has to be something
someone else's secret.
It doesn't have to be a secret. It can be something that is physical, like it can be an actual, like the bunny statue. It could be a memory. It could be something like mechanical. An example, like this is to the kind of extreme level, but this is a good example, is in Critical Role, Jester offering to the hag her ability to draw or paint, like something that is so innate to her. Now that's a very extreme example, but think that you can think that abstractly, something that like has no mechanical effect on the game of D&D, but would be something that she, as the character of Jester, values greatly. Crane, yeah, what is your offering?
I offer you a silver bullet. I don't use these regularly. They are special. But I feel they would be well valued in a moment like this.
You hold forth this silver bullet, this potential for protection against the supernatural, and strip away your ability to protect yourself from the supernatural for the foreseeable future.
Just give her your astrolabe. You barely use that thing.
My focus?
Yeah.
Never use it.
It's not even tied to your character at all. Or give her your sash that has all your spells on it.
Yeah, my astrolabe and my spell book. The two things that make
Both divining rods back. You don't want to.
Give her the spell catapult. You never use it. It's just sitting there.
I was looking through my spells and I'm like, could I give a spell away? I was like, I kind of already don't have a lot of spells.
I gave
Low
her
level.
6 of my int score.
Mm.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Just drop down a minus just to 4. Straight 4.
You cause face.
I do have my bow. I do have my bow.
Trade your old bow. We have them.
I know it. Yeah. All right. Yeah, because it's the last. Okay, so she'll do her bow because it's the last thing, other than her brother, of course, that she has tied to the world beyond that she has completely forgotten about. And it's the key. It's the last thing to unlocking her memory. Completely.
A symbolic gesture of a past that, though you don't remember or know, has ramifications on your present and future. It's a powerful offering. Andy, we come to you.
I know. I'm having a hard time, okay?
So, in recap, we have the bunny given by Ursa with a secretive note attached. Eyes only for the DM. We have the bow representing the last vestige of a past, perhaps unknown, but still very clearly weighing on Enid. The protections against the supernatural in Decrane's combat abilities and his silver bullets. And Andy.
Andy will look over all her tattoos and kind of point one out that's on. There's one arm where there's like almost bands, but they're spread out. There's not evenly spaced, anything like that. And kind of like tap one, and it would be the tattoo from the place that she has traveled the farthest to go see.
A mark of passage, a mark of prestige in the shepherd community. You offer up the knowledge and the journey and the path, the safe path from where you've grown and spent most of your life in Candorne. The furthest you would have traveled would have been to the capital of Sindar, the capital Helios, and thus offer up your knowledge of its safe passage, and that mark of prestige within your community. Collectively, with these in mind, not necessarily directly in hand, though I guess three of you do have a physical object, you make your way over to Clandestryx on the other side of this space, where she's been waiting in a quiet meditation of sorts. And as you gather forth, the light of the crystals around dims until only the starlight and the auroras above provide any light. Clandestryx herself fades from her semi-opaque white cream to crystal clear. And you lose sight of her, save where the starlight and auroras refract within her massive form. We will be reaching out to fate itself to see which paths they have set before you. In my experience with each of you in such a short time, I can already sense that you are connected to something greater collectively. I think Ludomir knows this as well, hence his quicker than normal attachment and assignments. I hope this bodes well. I have a good feeling about this. I have a good feeling about each of you.
That's nice.
And I hope fate agrees. I see each of you has an offering. And from each, your hands and Andy, you feel this faint kind of stinging as the tattoo is removed and just becomes an etheric quality of the space before you. Each of the items revolve telekinetically and are just risen up into the auroras and sky. As Clandestryx says, we call on fates to get a glimpse of a path for Augustus, for Enid, for Decrane, and Andromeda. These offerings we make to you. You watch the auroras alight with white and blue energy instantly. And all of the starlight in the aurora above begins to shift and move, consolidating, quantifying, collecting into these various 12 constellations. Constellations Andy instantly recognizes. I think Enid and Augustus, the two of you recognize. Decrane, similar. You've spent quite some time looking to the stars. And while these aren't what you're most accustomed to, you can see similarities to those you would have known. As the constellations begin to revolve in a circle around the four of you and Clandestryx, but focused in on the four of you, you see a spiraling well, a hand with scales atop it, a jagged, almost lightning bolt, two triangles forming a chalice, kind of a shift of a key with a hand around the base, this swirling, intertwined, almost like firelight, the tip of a spear or sword, or another winding tangle of weeds and wildflowers, the flowing cloak, a five-pointed gate, the three-clawed scrape of the talons, and the smirking grin of the jester. As each passes over, they linger for a moment until one by one, the constellation settles over each of you. I'm just going to go in numerical order, just because it's how it's written here. Augustus first. The well. With a notable gasp from Clandestryx, you watch the light drain away from above Augustus. And the constellations stop to form the ring in a well with darkness in its heart. The void of all light, cold and deadly. After the gasp, the well of souls. A grim portent of doom and fatal misfortune. Your stomach drops slightly. And you guys watch from the outside of this kind of ringed well of stars. The interior, pitch black. The exterior of the ring becomes a burning corona, an eclipse of the sun that foretells the fall. Within the well of darkness, you watch the flames of the corona begin to form into a beautiful tree that alights with flame. The tree becomes a humble farmhouse, similarly alight. The smoke from the burning farmhouse rises to become great spires of a vast city. And before you, again, the streets become awash with flame. The corona itself begins to burn and corrode and close in. The well shrinks into a small ball and the whole thing descends directly before you, Augustus. Nearly into your outstretched hand, small enough to fit in the palm like an egg or a seed, before it too lies blackened and cracked, turns to ash. That ash and dust sweeps away as the spiral of constellations and auroras continues to swirl. As above Decrane, the stars and aurora swirls and stops rigidly. For a moment, there is a rigid circle of the well before the well caves in at the sides, and you see two triangles, one atop the other, connected in the middle by a single point. Notably, the stars of the upper half of the chalice glow brighter. Greatness and power await those marked by the everlasting chalice. From within the chalice, you watch vague aurora painted tableaus. You can see a number of people sat around a table at a fire, friendship, camaraderie, shared wealth. They all morph and change, different scenarios, different people, but all prosperity. A life unlike that which you've known for most of your days. You recognize battle weariness and scars, indicating it's not a life of quiet luxury. It will be earned in blood. But in this alien world with found family, a new home awaits you. Clandestryx again leans in. Your chalice is shared. Should you lead, with ones you trust at your side, goodwill and fortune awaits. Again, constellations and auroras swirl above, and the stardust and auroras swirl above like a tornado above Enid. Pinpoint stars mark the multiple intersections of two forces at war in love or bonded by passion. The intertwined flares, or the flames, or the lovers, are presented to you. You watch the head of the constellation of this kind of swirl flare, and they solidify into two forms bound together, the eyes staring deeply into each other, with shared passion, connection, emotion. The image shifts and the pair are lost to rising flame. You all hear the thrum of battle, the beating of heart, the crackle of flame as it surrounds you. And from the burning fire, a single form rises. Only one will remain. Finally, sweeping again, the aurora and stars flow and converge, at first in an arch, a five-pointed gate that lingers like a doorway before it falls away, intertwining with itself and swirling of stardust twirls into a wild tangle of weeds and wildflowers, constellation known as the Gardener. Clandestryx looms. A test of willpower and resilience looms over you. Where this intertwined flow of aurora dust and stars glow, three strands begin to emerge and stand apart from the rest, divergent but parallel. At the end of each, you watch the stars blossom into spheres containing three images. The rightmost sphere, you see a tower silhouetted by storm. A bolt of lightning strikes the highest spire and a scream rings out that rattles your soul. In the middle, a dust-covered office or library in disarray. On a desk beneath a window of shattered stained glass, you see a metallic helm that gleams despite the gloom. And finally on the left, you see a woman kneeling, facing away, defeated. She cradles a form across her lap. There still. The air of despair and loss is palpable. You watch the shadows creep up her back, higher to the neck, slipping into the ear before the image goes black entirely. The auroras and the starlight fades away entirely. The light of the crystal walls rises once more. Clandestryx sits back. You watch her form ripple and become opaque once more. Her face is perplexed. I had thought you were touched by something, but this is, well, it's markedly more than I expected.
Oh, good. Not bad.
Do not take them as guarantees. You know as well as I, premonitions are not guarantees. Any of this. It's a path. It need not be the one you take.
Mine looked really bad, so...
The well is bad.
The
well is often
It
bad.
felt very bad. But maybe that's a gift. Maybe just like Clandestryx said, this is how we can stop or change that fate.
Maybe it's a stop along the way. Not the
Yeah.
end.
They can all be but a path, but I will also say to you, Augustus, the well is not simply death and loss. Death can be about renewal, a new beginning. From the fire, a phoenix rises.
Yeah. There was honestly parts of it that I was kind of feeling that. You know? There was still the light, that halo through the darkness, so just gotta keep moving towards that. I just kind of wish I got the cranes. That seemed like a lot of fun. Mine was super scary.
Kyle, I have a question about Scott's.
Mhm.
Did the flaming house look anything like the one that's in Andy's visions, or is it different?
Different.
Oh, I thought it was the same. I was
The
like,
house in your
Alright.
vision is has been a eccentric manor style house. This is a classic small cottage farmhouse.
did it look like our farmhouse though?
Yeah, it sure does. Yeah.
God damn it. Even more worried now, even more stressed. Were we all able to see? Yeah, like we were able to see these kind of stars. Were we able to see the visions of other people's?
Everything that was described was seen and shared.
Okay.
So I'm going to be afraid.
Enid, yours seemed like you find like the love of your life or something, and then
Maybe I don't know.
you just have so many secrets. Like, do you have a secret partner? And
No.
like, okay, it's cool if you do. It's fine.
I'm just as confused as you are.
Like, they don't need my approval, you know? Like, it's fine.
Like I said, I'm just as confused as you are.
The mark of the flames and the lovers is a divisive reading. It can mean tempestuous emotion. It need not be embroiled in a relationship, so to speak, in a loving one. It may mean enemies, foes more than friends. It may simply be powerful emotion and passion shared. But the end being only one will remain.
That felt tough.
Oh, but you know what, though? There was that one guy we did cross.
Which guy?
The captain guy.
For class?
Yeah.
Nettie?
Man, I think you came up to halfway up his knee. I'm not gonna lie. That'd be an
Oh, but
interesting
he
one.
was some.
Oh wait, not for glass. You mean the guy who owned like the trinkets and stuff?
No, the other one. The guy, the ship guy. It's cool.
The
guy.
glass. Yeah,
Okay,
the
good,
glass.
good. Because I was like, Nitty, we saw that guy's dead body. He's like straight up
No, not
dead
him.
zone.
He
Okay,
was
good.
sketch.
You had a thing when I went to bed. Did you go back and hang with Captain Verglass?
No, I
What's
didn't.
happening?
No, I didn't. But I'm just saying. I'm saying hypothetically, if there were a
Okay,
potential suitor, I'd have him ranked number 1.
he was pretty cool with that.
It
claw.
was great.
It was pretty sick.
Right?
You might need to find a suitor now. She may
Me?
leave you for someone else.
What are you doing? What are you saying this stuff for? I just saw like the most terrible future of all, and then you're giving me this stuff.
I'm never leaving you. Don't worry.
You're like, oh, my future is I sit at a bar with my friends. It's really fun.
Well, it said one of us is gonna go, so obviously I don't want to go. It's gotta be the other person.
Yeah.
It can't be you.
No.
You and I are going until the end.
Yeah.
Gus, the shadows like to tell stories, but they're never true. I wouldn't worry too much about your future.
Shadows like to tell stories.
I tend to believe that Destiny is for fools. If you aren't happy with what you saw, you can change it.
Okay, yeah. I believe you.
No offense, Dragon.
You started losing me with the first half. It's like a whole thing.
Clandestryx has a name. She has a name.
It came around in the second half. I agree with the second half.
She smirks and says, perhaps the language I don't agree with, but the sentiment is true. Destiny and fate.
He's both very poetic and also like puts the foot right in his mouth half the time. It's a big swing.
He shot a gun at your house, so we were like, please don't. But
I thought that was long after the fighting had ended. It seemed.
it was, yeah.
It's all right. I can grow more.
Okay.
Well, business completed on both ends. I'm very happy to have company if you wish to stay any longer, but if you wish to continue on, I need not hold you up.
I think it would honestly be nice to see the real sky, if that's something you could do.
I cannot stay for long, but I can certainly get you there.
I also have a question.
Please.
I feel we are going to encounter many fights and many battles to come. And you, with all your wisdom and experience, probably could help some of our party who have not seen such violence before.
What is he talking
If you
about?
could offer wisdom, if you could offer training, if you could offer something to help us be more prepared, that would be, I think, really helpful.
Indeed, I can offer you a glimpse. She, before you, kind of like swirls and you watch the aurora return and create this illusory vision of one of the divining rods planted, and you can see a circle of runes embedded in the ground surrounding it. And she says, to activate the rod, once you have it planted in the ground, choose the site wisely, preferably the sites that were previously chosen by Ludomir and myself. They bear a greater connection to the flow and spectrum of magic. The course is through Vigil. Once placed within, begin the commune ritual. Connect the rune, connect the divining rod to the greater divining network. This connection must be maintained, but the magic of fate will be fighting you back. It must be maintained for the full minute. It will not be an easy task. Or she kind of looks towards Andy, the caster. We are bending and tampering with things that are not meant for us, but it is a worthwhile endeavor all the same. So be prepared. And I will also offer a warning. These sites, Brundakiln, the peaks, whatever evil disrupted the network in the first place, it is powerful. It is something that I cannot perceive. It is something that lingers, and its effects are being felt still. It was not a temporary one-off. And I wish I could explain more. But whatever mystery exists, whatever power overcame, it is beyond my sight.
Well, Andy, I'll protect you when you're putting that rod down. And you're strong. You'll be able to handle it.
Yeah. Do my best. I think getting there is going to be a feat all on its own. So I think that's where we're really going to need all of your skills in traversing literally a mountain.
think I can handle that too. I got some new tricks up my sleeve. Clandestryx.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question, but can I secretly ask it to you and you can just tell me yes or no if it's true or not?
Of course. One moment. And you hear none of you hear this as telepathically she speaks in your mind. You may speak just between the two of us.
I'm gonna message it to you because I don't want the party.
No, we'll just take out your headphones. We'll just take out our headphones. Then you can actually.
But I don't know if I want the audience to know.
Okay.
I think in my little bunny head and ask her this question.
She audibly chuckles and says, "All secrets in good time."
Okay. God, she's cool.
She's so cool.
And then he'll
much
just
as
think on that even more.
Yeah.
Okay, secrets.
As much as I'd love, I do want to see the sky again. Your place is wonderful. Admittedly, you're so incredibly impressive, and your magic is very good. And I wish that I could learn more from you.
Mine is not a magic that can be learned in the way that you learn it. Our kind are gifted with magic of the mind, not of an arcane origin. I've learned to shape it and craft it in a way that resembles the diviners, such as yourself. But it comes from a different place.
With respect, that's not entirely what I mean. I understand magic, what's different. I more mean your eye for interpretation and for understanding less than the spells itself. It's something I struggle with.
Well, you're only young. I have several centuries on you. That comes with significant time, effort, and experience. I've lived through wars. I've lived through conflicts and political dramas that would bore you to death, but were important at the time. I have seen many things in a long life, and I've seen many things that did not yet come to pass, whether they are ever intended to or not.
That's reassuring.
It is our lot in life as diviners to always be on the watch and looking, hopeful of a better future, but wary of the risks, watching for that path. Which direction does it take? And trying our best to steer the world in the direction that does not lead to an Armageddon.
Or the well.
Well, but we've been there before. And we survived. You'll weather any of these storms to come. I have faith.
You got such a big hat, Andy. Like you could, any storm that came your way, you'd be fine.
I think we were talking, Nick. Yeah.
No rain.
A lot of snow, actually.
Yeah. Andy, we're like probably moments away from you seeing the night sky again.
Even this was wonderful.
I can't
It's
wait.
actually about midday.
Yeah, it's
God.
it's hours, but
I can't wait to see the sun. It's gonna be so great
I
for the
thought it's
sun.
been an hour.
Since we started the journey?
Yeah.
No, Nettie, your time is so bad.
we've
Then
slept
why
so
did
many
everyone say
times.
an hour?
We said that like an hour ago, Nettie.
I fainted so many times.
You did. slightly concerned about how many blows to the head she keeps getting. It's getting an issue.
Cup, I think the sun would do you all some good.
Yes.
She, making her form opaque, lowers a wing to act as platform for each of you to clamber up upon. And as you seat yourselves, you feel some of the kind of hovering crystals come and kind of give you a somewhere to like rest against and to hold on to, as she begins to kind of just take to flight. Her wings not really flapping at the point, just hovering, saying, "It won't take long, but hold on tight." And with the speed at which only an ancient dragon can fly, she bursts forward, careening towards a crystalline wall that you expect her to crash and burst into, before at the last second she fires straight up and shoots and rockets up against this crystalline wall, just gliding past it. Again, coming, you can see descending crystals in spires that she weaves and winds between as she rises up higher, faster. You watch as one of them is immediately in the way and she's not moving out of the way of, and you feel yourselves blink out and appear 100 feet up and away to another side. Again, she blinks and just cascading and jumping in space and time. Followed by another final last burst through. You see a sliver of blue sky and sun above, and in mere moments, the underworld is left behind, and a bitterly cold but beautiful sky. You rise out over the peaks of these gray silver highlands. To your south, you can see all the way down through Ironhome. To the north, you're high enough to see the peak of the Silver Highlands, your destination in the coming day. And beyond it, the Frostfell, and even somewhere down there, hopefully, Ursa and Captain Verglass off in the ice fields. You look back, you can see Candorne stretching to your east, and the darkness of the Ashen Wastes not far to the northwest. Clandestryx swirls and hovers and holds, granting you this one moment of majesty high above Vigil, before she brings you back down on a flat plateau on the Silver Highlands. You descend off of the wing of the dragon. She bids you farewell. And we'll pick up there next time.
That was so beautiful.
Oh, that's so cool.
Such a lovely description after you horrified us all with.
I know. I wrote down the secret thing I wrote down and said, that's why Kyle made us roll dice, the deep thing. Knew it.
As soon as he started listing the things, I'm like, that's 12.
Mm-hmm. 12 constellations. Well,
audience, I rolled mine, and Kyle immediately said, "Oh God."
Oh, that's bad for you. And then Kevin
Kev rolled the same
every.
one.
Then he rolled a nice
Get
one.
all the rolls at one point.
Yeah, Kevin rolled each individual one.
Yeah, he rolled a 1, and then he rolled, and so I asked him to roll again, but he didn't get back before Allie rolled the 6, then Kev rolled the 6. Again, I messaged roll again, and then Leah and Kev, I think, rolled at the same time. Kev got the 4, and Leah got the 8.
Man,
Lots
that was fun.
options.